The main things I use for making my bracelets are a board and clips to hold the cords in place. For this one I'm going to use this lilac cord and this silver, and I have the button to fasten it, the ruler to measure out the cord. I've already done it, but that's what I used to do it, scissors, and I use this thread to measure out on the wrist. So I know where to make the first hole, I do that, and so I know where the bracelet ends, it's that one. It helps it out so I can put it across there to measure it while I'm doing it. It saves me having to keep taking it off the board, put it around the wrist, measure it, put it back. So I put those knots on, so it's quite handy to do that if you've got any spare scraps of thread that you can use just for measuring out. I measured the bracelet round my wrist by wrapping 2 strands round twice, leaving a bit of a gap so there was some to work with, and then tying a knot at the top, which is under here, and a little loop to put your button into. And then once this is attached to the board, you choose which colour you want to show in the centre and which colour you want to go for your border. So for this one, this is going to be silver for the border and lilac for the central part. And I've found that if I do around 17 square knots, that's about the right size for my wrist. And this bracelet is mostly square knots. So if you start off with this one over the top, put this one over the top, go through that hole there, pull all your cord through, and then just tighten up to there. And then for the second part of your knot, you'll go under the threads, and then pick that one up under that thread, and then just pull it through there, like that. It gets easier once you've worked some of it. So then back to the beginning. Over, over, and then under, and just pull that through. And then this one under this time, pull it on under, and then pull it through. That's 2 square knots. So I'll show you one more time. Take this one over, take this one over that one, and under and through. Oops, a bit caught there. And pull it like that. And then for your next one will be under, under again, over and through. And tighten. So if you remember, however you've chosen to measure it out in this ring, get to there, and then it's on to the next part. I made it to the first place where I stop, and now I need to make the gap in it. Because this colour is probably better on this side, I'm going to do one more half of a knot here, if you know what I mean, just to bring the colours to the right sides. So now I've got the lilac with the lilac and the silver with the silver. So to make the gap, I take this colour away and just keep this lilac one in. Do this one first. So to do this one, you do the 4 of that, and then bring this through like that. And then next you go underneath and bring this through like that. And then you just repeat this until you've got it to the size you want. So over the top and through, then underneath and through, over the top and pull through, underneath and pull through, over the top, underneath over the top, under, over the top, and under. Let's check that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I usually found about 6 is right for this gap. So then we switch to the other side. Put that back into place. So this one's over, and then under, and then under, and over and through. Over, then under, over, and then under, over, then under, over, then under. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, over, and then under. And then push that so they're both matching like that. Then put both your holding threads back into place, making sure to keep them separate or not twisted, you know what I mean. And then you go back to doing your square knots. And because I did half of one there to get it into the right place, I start this one underneath rather than over. That's just personal preference. So pull that one through, and then you're just back to doing square knots all the way down. So if you just remember this, or if you've done one of these, or if not, you can take it off there and just measure it round so you see that bit, this middle there, that middle there. But depending on whether you're doing it for your own or someone else, just make sure you measure it out. Just saves you from getting it done and then thinking, hang on, it's down there or it's over there or whatever. Because I have done that because I'm... Right, so measure out with this, and then you're going down to about there or whatever you've measured on yours. And then when I get to that point, I'll show you how I put the button on. Right, I've got to the end now, so I just want to put the button on here. I try to match up the centre ones and the end ones diagonally, if that makes sense. So putting this one in the top one and get it through. Go on, in you go. And then this other centre one in that hole there, you can see. There and there. And then the same with the end strands. There. And then tie that in a knot. If you want to leave a bit of room, you can put the knot a bit further down. I've already measured and made sure this does fit my wrist. I've done this one to fit a 6-inch wrist, but if you're making it for a bigger or smaller, just adapt it to fit. I find that for mine, I tend to do around 13 inches for the bracelet, just to give it a bit of space, if you don't want it too tight. So you can cut these ends off once you've tightened it. And if you just want that added security, the knot, you just melt it a little bit. That should stop it from coming undone, but don't melt it too much. I have made that mistake before and broken my threads. So all you need to do now is put it on and feed it through there. So I tend to do this bit first. Sometimes it might be a bit tight. So then you can put it on like that. And there we go. And completed bracelet.